Hi everyone, I'm really happy to be back with this new video. I wanted to make a little energy update because I think it is time to do a little update about what is going on energetically, and it has been quite intense since the beginning of the year. And I spoke about in a recent video, I made a small video, a short on YouTube about the eclipses. So the eclipses started on the 14th of March with a lunar eclipse and ended on the 29th of March with a partial solar eclipse. And we had the spring equinox in between on the 20th. And I was really feeling that these eclipses were pretty powerful. That's why I also made this little video. And indeed, I don't know for you, but I really felt them. I went through something very difficult personally, a very big challenge, probably one of the biggest challenges in my life, I have to say. So now I'm on the other side, so I can speak about it more like with a smile on my face, but a couple of weeks back, it really wasn't the case. So I don't wish to share in detail what I experienced because it's something very intimate and personal to me. But what I can tell you is that it is life-changing. It is, as I said, one of the most difficult challenges that I have ever been through, more like an initiation, in fact, or I would even say a rite of passage in my life. And what it taught me is that I could only rely on faith in the divine. I could only rely on trusting what life, what the universe, what source, God, had in store for me. I couldn't control anything anymore. I had to let go of everything. I could only control, my reaction and how I reacted to the events that happened. That's the only thing I had control on. But all the rest I had to let go of. And it was like a big leap of faith. It was like jumping off a cliff and just trusting that everything is going to be okay. And if you're going through something similar right now, or if you have been going through something similar, or maybe you will be soon going through something similar, like a difficult challenge in your life, and certainly we are tested right now. We are tested in our faith. I just wanted to share a couple of things that could help you. So again, sometimes when we experience something like that, that's what I felt. Currently, when we go through these challenges and difficulties, it's like entering a very particular space-time reality, space-time timeline, I would say. So we know we are going in that timeline, in that corridor. We know that at some point we're going to get out of it. But when we are inside, it's really, really, like, it seems never ending because it's so difficult, it's so challenging. And once we get out of it, which I have now, and now I'm still recovering and integrating what happened. But when we get out of it, then we can only see that it's just like a very small grain of sand, in the hourglass of our lives. And so we see that time is so relative. And I'm not even speaking about, like the on a soul level, what it represents. It's really this very, very small grain of sand. But there is so much to learn from it. And sometimes these trials and challenges are like a sledgehammer on the head. And we really feel powerless to what is happening. And we are almost like saying, why is the universe treating me this way? Why am I suffering in this way? What for? There's really this question. And we always need to remind ourselves that there is always a purpose for that. It's not like the universe is trying to treat us bad or whatever. It's really because we are invited to transform deeply within. Specifically right now, it's really also aiming at very primordial and deep fears that we may hold. Something that most of the time is probably unconscious as well. And this is why when we have challenges, it's more difficult when it's sudden. It happens suddenly, unexpectedly, and that's certainly what happened with me. And I didn't even know, I didn't even know I had those fears. But it's like the universe really pointed towards those fears. And in the end, there's a big transformation happening. There's a big healing happening, and also we feel that we can really gather our strength, we can really like build our resilience, and we feel, you know, more aligned and more strong in the end. And as the universe is asking us to jump off that cliff, we really need to have this faith, to hold on to this faith that the universe is going to catch us. And I remember this meme that I saw a couple of years back on the internet, which was really representing someone jumping off a cliff, and we could see that there were the hands of the universe like catching him, catching the person, and making sure that the person was safe in the end. So that's really the test that we are all going through right now, a test of faith. And also, once we are on the other side, once we transformed and healed, we can really feel that there is a rise in our own vibration. We are really elevating ourselves. Of course, what we are going through right now is also connected to what is happening in the collective, because we are never separate from what is happening in the collective. So there's always some resonance between what we are experiencing personally and the collective. And the collective is going through this huge purge of the human suffering right now. So of course, sometimes we will feel that. We will feel that energetically, but we will also feel that in our lives with things happening, and also feeling that there is this connection, this resonance. Something really interesting is that we have just entered in the spring 2025 a new cycle of the Mayan calendar, because we just finished a 13-year cycle of the Mayan calendar. As you may know, the number 13 is very important for the Mayans. So I'm not an expert in Mayan astrology. Maybe some of you are. Please comment if you are. But I know that the cycles that they have are often 13 days, 13 weeks, 13 months, and 13 years. And now we've ended actually these 13 years, which started in 2012. So I don't know if you remember 2012, but I certainly do, especially the years just before, like around 2007, 2008, 10, etc. There was such anticipation for 2012, you know, it's like, because of course we were talking about the Mayan calendar, the end of the Mayan calendar, the end of an era, the end of the world. So we didn't know what was going to happen, really. There were so many theories going on. And also what was predicted by the Mayans were cataclysmic events on this planet for this new consciousness to emerge. And basically, it didn't happen, okay? So we all saw that nothing happened, nothing cataclysmic happened. And is that because they were wrong or something else? So I would say they weren't wrong, because some other civilizations also prophesized cataclysmic events for the era that we are going through right now. But we had two choices. We had this timeline where, in fact, there were cataclysmic events on the planet that would shatter everything for this new consciousness to arrive. And there was another timeline where we were going through a process collectively that was more progressive and softer in a way, a bit nicer in a way. And actually, this is the timeline that we are on right now. So we are not going to go through cataclysmic events. We, as a humanity, we actually chose this timeline where we are progressively ascending and progressively accessing this new consciousness. So of course, especially now, you know, 2025 is a year 9 in numerology. So we are all closing chapters in our lives, you know, collectively as well. So there are going to be trials and challenges. That's part of the game, you know. If we chose this progressive timeline, then of course we're going to experience these moments in our lives where it's going to be more difficult. But I prefer personally this way than something very cataclysmic, which is, you know, pretty harsh, very difficult to go through. You know, some other ancient civilizations went through that before us, but we apparently chose a different path. So that's really good news. So the period between 2012 and 2025 was the era of revelation for the Mayans. This is the era, the period where a lot of revelation came to the surface. what was hidden comes to the light. It's not completely over, of course. And now we are entering this new Mayan cycle of 13 years in the spring 2025, which is called the New Galactic Wave. And with this new period that we are entering right now, there are going to be many, many transformations and changes regarding our relation to space and time, also our connection to the spirit realm. So things are going to become more astral in a way, and also globally our multi-dimensionality. So this is a time where we are going to be able to explore much more these aspects of ourselves, and also this relationship with time and space is really changing. And again, I was mentioning before this very specific space-time reality that we enter sometimes when we go through trials or challenges. Well, that's part of that. So when we are experiencing that, it seems never-ending. But in the end, we see that it's all relative, and it just represents a very tiny dot in the, in the full spectrum. So this is going to be more and more clear also for us. And because there is also this new wave of consciousness, of new consciousness arriving, we are also called to be really responsible. There's really this responsibility also as a collective, also on an individual level, to build a more peaceful and loving future and world for this planet. So the word responsibility, and what comes to my mind is also the word integrity. Integrity, to be who we truly are, to be honest with ourselves and with others, to be more complete, and to let go of all the masks and be, true to ourselves and to others and what we need to share in the world. So we are all also responsible for that. Another interesting thing related to our relationship with time is that we've all been feeling these past years, there is this acceleration of time, or the perception of time. It's like time is really speeding up. This is going to be even more felt. And what we also can perceive is that we are changing timelines more rapidly and more frequently than before, which is a good sign, by the way, because when we change timelines, it means that we are changing within. So we are progressing faster. So that's really good news. But it's almost like we cannot predict on the long term the future anymore, because timelines are changing so fast. So it's probably easier to predict like short-term events, but long-term events, it gets really, really difficult. So there may be a major event still happening, and I will be probably talking about that in a future video. That's the only thing I'm seeing, but for the rest, it's really open. We are progressing towards this new consciousness and this new light coming to Earth, but to predict in detail is becoming much more difficult. And what we may feel as well, I'm certainly feeling it, maybe you are too, is that now we're entering also a period where our future is very uncertain. So there is this feeling that there's maybe this main guideline of our life that is still there. We still know where we are going, like generally speaking. But again, we don't know the details, we don't know the circumstances, we don't know who, where, what. I'm certainly feeling that there are a lot of changes coming for me in the coming years. A lot of maybe movement here and there. I don't know yet exactly what's going to happen. I don't know. And again, it's also maybe a call from the universe to just let go and let life guide us and show us what is the best way for us. So that's maybe a good idea, to just let go right now and not try to overthink things, even if it seems so uncertain. We don't know exactly where we are going. But again, we have this main guideline, this main roadmap that is still here, that we can still, feel. But the good news is that the sky is clearing after the storm. The sky is opening up again to the sunshine. And of course, this month of April, we are still feeling this in between. There's this intensity that is still here. But progressively, as we go through May, June with the summer solstice, and certainly during the summer period, we are going to feel that things are really opening up for us. And there will be much more light felt collectively, but also within and personally. And when I went through this very difficult challenge that I was speaking about in the beginning, so of course when we experience difficult times, we have this, this thing happening that we are closing ourselves off energetically, but also our hearts. That's really normal when we go through these trials and these difficult times. But then when there is this healing and transformation, when we are on the other side, then we need to open up again. And that's what I actually felt for me. I saw and I felt my heart space opening up again. And I saw this beautiful rainbow in my heart space. And the universe was showing me like a very, like stormy cloud with rain, and then the sunshine coming out. And this combination with the stormy cloud with rain and the sunshine is what creates the rainbow. So it was almost telling me, you are not this cloud with the rain. You are the sunshine. But when we combine both, when we combine, let's say, the shadow and the light, then we create this beautiful thing that is the rainbow, which is, like the 7 colors, which represents the whole dimensional spectrum as well. But also symbolically, what does the rainbow represent? It really represents this union with the sky and the earth. It's really this bridge between both aspects. And so it is really something that is completely divine. And also it reminded me of the rainbow body. So the rainbow body is something that we can attain when we really access and we really elevate ourselves to very high spiritual realizations, such as some Tibetan monks, for example, which are said to attain such a high frequency, a high vibration, a high consciousness in their incarnation, that when they die, their body actually transforms into 5 colors, which reminds us of the rainbow. That's why we call it the rainbow body. And then their body dissolves completely into the light. So there's no more body left. And that apparently is really the highest realization, spiritual realization that we can really achieve in an incarnation. So, okay, we're not going to achieve that tomorrow, but what is interesting to note is how these monks actually attain that state, because they go through many, many years of really compassionate practices, of really deepening their unconditional love and this, all-encompassing love of all that is, all that exists, and they can really hold that vibration within, and that's like over many years, that when they cultivate that, then they can really achieve this kind of realization, this high realization. We can really follow that example, and we are certainly as a collective going there as well, because what is this new galactic wave that the Mayans are telling us about? Well, it's the new consciousness. And what is the new consciousness? It's the heart-centered consciousness, because we are going from an ego consciousness to a heart-centered consciousness as a collective. And as I'm speaking, I can already feel that this is opening up more and more for us. And certainly when we are going through these difficult times, these trials, these challenges, initiations, rites of passages, it's not to make us suffer. It's for us to transcend suffering. It's for us to open up our hearts again and really connect back to this compassionate, all-encompassing love, unconditional love that Source has for us and that we are, actually. That's who we truly are. So I can only encourage you to remind yourself of that and to connect back to your heart space. And certainly if you are going through something difficult right now, well, give yourself some time to regenerate, to assimilate, to integrate what you need. And don't forget after that to open up your heart again, because it is so needed on this planet. We need everybody's love and everybody's compassion. So I hope this video was useful, and I will see you again very soon with a new video. Take care. Sat Nam.